Body positivity. Does it mean you just let yourself go and you don't take care of yourself, you don't work on your body? Or is it a healthy way to relate to yourself and have a healthy sense of self esteem and therefore improve your relationships? We're going to dig into it and we're going to talk all about body positivity, self care, and how to be the best you can be. Welcome to the secret formula of femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Monteiro, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Nicole, your guide on really tapping into your feminine essence and living out its transformative power on your life and relationships. So, you've probably heard a lot about body positivity. The movement has been around for, at least a decade now. But I want us to talk about it from a slightly different angle. I think we have heard a lot of the talking points, but let's really dig into it. But of course, I love to share a story with you. And I think as far back as 8 years old, that was the first time that I can say I had any exposure or interaction with what we might call body positivity. Although, of course, at that age, that wasn't what I was calling it. I didn't have a name for it. But when I was around 8 years old, I remember one summer I went to spend a few weeks with some relatives in a different state. And this story isn't to kind of drag them or anything. It's more about my experience. And so that part of the family was their kids were very slim, very tiny, right? Now, you probably, if you haven't seen me, a lot of people are surprised that I'm so short. I'm 5'3". Um, and I would say I'm, I don't know if that's average height or slightly below, but average weight. Around that age, I was growing and developing. I guess you could call me pudgy. I don't know. It depends, right? I had never really thought about myself in terms of weight. It wasn't something that was on my mind. But I remember when we got there, and some of those relatives were playing around and they were like, oh, Nicole's getting so chubby. Look at that tummy. And they were just saying things. And again, I'm sure they didn't mean any harm. But me, at that age, you can be very sensitive. I already knew I was sensitive. I know I was sensitive. But you can be very impressionable and vulnerable to what other people say, other people's comments. And I know it wasn't just that they said that, but they were also comparing me to some of the other kids around, right? Oh, well, so and so wasn't that size at that age, or they were making these little comments. And in my mind, it just became this thing that created a lot of self consciousness. And then I started thinking about, oh my God, I got to exercise, and it wasn't like I got to exercise to just feel good, but I got to get this pudginess away. Not even understanding that some of us are just built a certain way. Like even now, no matter what my weight is, I'm pretty much, kind of constant weight. Although as I get older, of course, it's harder. You kind of sometimes gain some pounds, but the shape, we all come in different sizes and shapes. And my shape is that my pudginess is going to come out in my belly, in my stomach. And so that began that journey of where I was like more self-conscious. Now fast forward to maybe probably a year or two later, I'm in school and some kids are teasing me saying, "Oh, she has a nose like Michael Jackson. Look at her nose," and laughing and stuff like that. And that was kind of again my exposure to another concept, which is people who bully and tease, like the concept of projection. So people who bully and tease other people, especially when it comes to physical appearance, they're not feeling good about themselves. So that caused this whole thing where I would be in the mirror looking and trying to adjust my nose and like, how would I look if I were different? Then I'm starting to think about, oh my God, is my tummy pudgy? And so this began like at an age where you're really vulnerable to what people say, me being self conscious about parts of myself, my experience. And so when we talk about body positivity, I think it's just, we can call it appearance positivity, because it's not just the body, it's everything, your features, your hair. We can go down to skin color, your body shape, your height. I remember people teasing other people about their feet. Oh, so and so has big feet, right? So kids and sometimes adults perpetuate this. They can hone in on any little thing and start to tease about it. And so if you're not giving your child a foundation of self-love, self-esteem, and self-acceptance to counter that stuff, they can start to internalize those messages. Now, luckily, I will say that my parents did such a great job. They weren't the ones that made any of those comments. And so when it came to being at home and the people I was with the most, it was very positive messages, about me and just trying to build up my self esteem and who I was. And so I felt like it was a good thing because it helped to counter some of those other experiences. Now, fast forward some more, and this is an experience that I know a lot of women can relate to. Going through puberty around 12, 13, my body's changing. And at that time, I'm walking home from either the school bus stop or the bus stop, wherever the public transportation or school bus to get home. And this was a time when I started to notice that grown men, would notice me. They were making comments and they were saying things that I knew I didn't actually know the meaning of everything they were saying, but I knew that that wasn't kids' talk. I knew that was adults' talk. And it started to make me really kind of conscious then, not just about my body, but about safety and like, who are these people? Why am I drawing this attention? And so, from there, I never really wanted a lot of attention on me because it was associated with not positive attention, with like lack of safety in some ways, not knowing who are these people and why are they making these comments. So our relationship to our bodies and our appearance, ladies, it's multifaceted, and there's so many experiences, and some of them can seem very minor, right? It can be a small comment here, a small comment there, but depending on when they happen, who says them, how we take it in, they can affect how we feel about ourselves. So I'm curious, I want you to think about, like, what experiences have you had that may have impacted your relationship to your body, to your appearance, and how you felt about yourself. So that was my story, and I think through the years I've always had this strain of wanting to feel good about myself and knowing that that was important. And when I would focus on my appearance, not from the perspective of it needs to be different than who I am, but I need to love it and I need to take care of it. And so for me, body positivity, appearance positivity is really about that self love and not, and knowing that the self love and the self validation first has to come from within. Because how many people do we know that you can compliment them and they dismiss it? Oh, they don't take it in. They don't think that the compliment is real because they don't feel that way about themselves. So let's define, like, what do we mean by body positivity? And then I'll tell you what my spin on it is. So body positivity is about accepting and appreciating your body as it is, regardless of its shape, size, or appearance. So you might call it radical self-love. And I know a lot of people associate this with weight, like accepting your body at any weight. A person that comes to mind when we think about body positivity in terms of weight is somebody like Lizzo, right? So we think about it as like you're accepting the size of your body, but it goes so much deeper than that, right? Some people were born with certain physical disabilities or they acquired disabilities. So it's like accepting everything about your body and where it is right now. And that's really radical if you think about it. because so much of society and advertising and things like that, it's about making you insecure and pointing out what's not right about your physical self. And what that does is that drives you to buy the things that are supposedly going to fix that one problem, right? So there's a lot of messaging that specifically towards women is to make us feel insecure about ourselves and our bodies. Body positivity is also about celebrating your unique self. You're like just you being you. There's only one of you, and celebrating that and not feeling like it has to be a cookie cutter version of everybody else. I think that body positivity, we have to really dig a little deeper though, because we know as we tap into our femininity, a part of that is feeling good about our appearance. And it has to be something that's really felt. It can't just be a slogan or a phrase. And being a feminine woman is also taking pride in your appearance. And so that goes hand in hand with body positivity because it means you celebrate your uniqueness, you have radical acceptance, but you also always have a sense of how you present yourself and how you put yourself out in the world. It matters. So I am so in love with myself that I would never want to change anything about myself. I wouldn't want to change in any of my features or my height or, any like core thing about who I am physically. But does that mean that I don't want to go out and be my best self? That I don't want to adorn myself? Look, I have my henna on now. Or that I'm not going to make sure my hair looks good or make sure my clothes look good, or that I'm not going to exercise so that I can not just look good but feel good, or that I'm not going to eat right, right? So it's body positivity, but it's also knowing that a part of your femininity is taking pride in who you are and how you put yourself out there, and your appearance matters. It's part of your attractiveness factor. But here's the thing, your appearance won't matter or won't do anything if you don't truly feel good about it. And that's why body positivity is important. Radical self love, to where you might have a goal for yourself, and weight is the easiest thing to pinpoint. You might have a specific weight goal, but that doesn't mean you don't love yourself right now. Because one thing I've observed is that when you beat yourself up, you're less likely to reach any goal that you have. So if you beat yourself up about your capabilities or about how you look or your weight, you're not going to reach any goal. You're not going to be motivated to even do what you need. So if you're beating yourself up about your weight, you're actually more likely to fall into a pattern of self-loathing, feeling badly, maybe emotional eating or not taking care of yourself because you feel like there's no point. So feeling positively about yourself is key. And it doesn't mean that you don't care about self-improvement or working on yourself. Now, I also want to say a word about confidence. You have to feel confident at whatever stage that you're in. So I know some people that are like, I don't want to take pictures. I don't want to go out because I'm waiting to lose weight, or I'm waiting for this skin condition to clear up, or whatever the case may be. I used to feel like that with the mosquito bites. I had horrible, I even now I get a really strong reaction, like allergic reaction to mosquito bites. They'll pus up, and I had all of these mosquito scars on my calves, on my legs mostly, when I was little. And I used to, when my mom used to put me in pretty little dresses, I would wear these really long, like knee socks, not because I liked them or I thought they were cute, but because I was trying to cover up the scars on my legs. So, in a body positive frame of mind, it's like those scars are beautiful. There's nothing wrong with them. I have a couple of knee scars. Everyone says that all Black girls have these scars on our knees from when we were ripping and running and playing and we fell down and busted our knees, right? But these are just parts of life and parts of who we are. So, really learning to feel confident and not feel like you have to hide something about yourself. I once talked to a woman who said she wanted to get out there and date and meet people, um, but she didn't want to do it because she wanted to wait for her back scars. I guess she had back acne. She wanted to wait for her back scars to clear up because she felt so badly about them. And I'm like, girl, no, you cannot do that. You cannot stop yourself from living and from being out in the world confidently. You have just as much right to be out and to feel good about yourself as anyone else. Because here's the key, no one is perfect. Now, I have a question later on that gets into that question, and we'll talk about the impact of the media and social media. But no one is perfect. Mostly what you see that looks perfect has been body shopped, body chopped, filtered, and so many other things. It's not the real version. And I know I was looking at some research about how people before the age of phones, let alone instant pictures, right? Before we had phones, there was cameras and you had to go get the pictures developed. So that might have taken a few days or a week. But then they had Polaroid pictures where you could get an instant picture out. But even with that, like you couldn't just take millions of poses to get the right, the right angles and the right colors and all of that stuff. You sat there, you took some cute pictures with your friends and you felt good about them. You shared memories. Now it's like every photo is this life or death thing. Like, oh my God, erase it. Or you have people texting you, like, take that picture off because I don't look good in that picture. So we have become hyper focused on the most minute details of our appearance versus really leaning into our uniqueness and loving ourselves in all of our imperfections. All of our imperfections. Okay. So that for me is like, I'll call it appearance positivity. And one of the key phrases that you all will hear me say that I love is a lioness doesn't have to roar to woo or move the crowd. She just is because of her presence, her regal presence. And so sometimes there's people out there screaming body positivity in your face. And I think sometimes those people are still trying to work through it themselves and they're still trying to convince themselves. So they're out there being so loud about it and kind of putting everything in everybody's face. And it's like, to me, that's a sign you still got to go back and do that true inner work to know that you feel good about yourself versus forcing everybody else to say they feel good about your appearance. Because we know, here's the thing, we know not everyone is going to like your appearance. Some people don't like their own appearance. So, how are they going to like yours? Some people are highly judgmental of anything that doesn't seem perfect, they're judgmental of themselves. So you can't always expect that everybody else is just going to 100% love your appearance. You have to love your appearance. You have to know that all of your unique qualities are part of what make you you and make you beautiful. So it really, really does start within. So we know self-care is like, here's the thing about self-care. It's so important because it implies being intentional. It's not just something that just you happen upon. So self-care is, it's like the set of those intentional actions that you do to care for yourself holistically. Your physical self, your emotional self, your mental well-being, and it's nurturing yourself, not just with the acts that you do, but the mindset, the kindness, and the self compassion that you pour into yourself. And so, in order to practice self care, you simply need to be intentional about your well being and nurturing yourself. That's it, right? So, whether that's hair, nails, eating, resting, exercise, it could be anything. It's about being intentional. So when you're able to start working on how you feel about your body, this enhances your relationships because as we know, it's going to make you feel better about yourself, your self-esteem, your body positivity and self-care that helps to reduce stress and anxiety. You get to be in better physical health. And guess what? All of these help in your relationship. Women who are overly self conscious about their bodies are less likely to be able to connect intimately with their spouse. Because, especially for women, intimacy and sex are mental. And if you can't get out of your head, you're not going to be able to connect with your partner. And there's nothing more attractive or sensual than confidence and really being able to be in the moment. And so when you are in a frame of criticizing yourself, criticizing your body, your appearance, not feeling like you're self-conscious, you don't want your partner to see it, then you're really taken away from that connection and the moments of intimacy that you're trying to build. You're getting out of the moment, right? So, and if you talk to any man, right, they will tell you. I saw a funny TikTok, right? He was like, ladies, the things you guys are worrying about, men aren't worrying about. You're talking about the little fupa or whatever, that pouch, especially if you've had kids, nobody cares. You're talking about whatever cellulite that you think you have, nobody cares. You're talking about you gained 5, 10, 15 pounds, nobody cares, right? Like if you all are at the point of a relationship and intimacy in your relationship, those little things, nobody cares. And you criticizing yourself from those things, it takes away the mood. All right. So that's my little spiel on that. There is actually, I'm going to talk about like a few things as far as what the actual research tells us. One thing you can think about, because we're talking about body positivity, and of course that relates to health, we always want to be taking care of ourselves. We always want to be nurturing ourselves and eating well and moving our bodies. That should be a standard. That just makes us the best version of ourselves, regardless of what the scale says. So, mindful eating. Have you heard of mindful eating? This is where you're actually being present while you're eating, not driving, not stuffing, going through the drive through and then stuffing everything down your throat while you're driving and making that phone call, like just not being in the moment. Mindful eating is actually even good for eating disorders because when you tend to binge eat or even get into a mode of like restricting your eating, like an eating disorder, you are almost in a dissociative state, like you're kind of disconnected and you've gotten to a place where it's a reaction to stress or overwhelming emotions or feelings you don't want to deal with or trying to be overly controlled. So, the antidote, one of the antidotes to that is being mindful and being present when you eat. So, that's like even paying attention and being mindful before you start eating. So, understanding your own fullness and hunger signals. I talk to people a lot who say, I'm not hungry. Well, it's like, it's because you have desensitized yourself so much that you only notice when you are overwhelmingly hungry. And so, you know how they say if you feel thirsty, you're probably already on the road to being dehydrated if you're not dehydrated. You should be drinking so that you're not at the point of feeling thirst. And there's some people that get so hungry, they're like almost hypoglycemic. Their blood sugar is going down. They're feeling lightheaded, dizzy. They're having all of these hunger pangs, right? So mindful eating is even noticing those things beforehand. What does your body tell you about hunger? What is your eating schedule? I know when I exercise a lot, by the time when I wake up and it's 7 o'clock and I'm downstairs it's like my body is telling me, all right, now it's not the full blown dizziness, lightheadedness, or anything like that. But my body, my stomach is talking. You also want to know when you're full. If you're eating so quickly and you're not being mindful with it, then you are not knowing when you're full. Your mind takes a little while to catch up from what's happening with your body and your digestive system. So you might not feel mentally satiated or satisfied if you're eating so quickly because you haven't, it's lagging a little bit from your body. And so if you overeat, you're stopping when your mind says to stop, but your body has been finished, right? So you need to eat slowly. You need to be able to leave some room for some air and for to drink afterwards, right? So that's a whole other topic we can get into around like what are some good eating practices. You know, my husband always talks about Islamic teachings where like you need to have a third of your stomach is for eating, a third for liquids, and then a third for air, meaning you don't want to overstuff yourself. But it's hard to do that if you're not able to be mindful with your eating. Another aspect of mindful eating is when you learn to savor each bite. Like you really enjoy the food. You're not just wolfing it down just to get something down or because, it's so good, I just got to eat it all. It's like, okay, the food is going to be here. Let me enjoy it. Let me savor. Like if I'm eating a grape, let me taste those juices coming out of the grape. Let me notice the difference between a red grape and a green grape, right? If I have cooked something or I'm eating something, what spices do I notice in it? Like let me savor and really be present and enjoy each and every bite. So that's part of mindful eating, and that is actually going to help you feel good about your body because you're going to feel connected to your body and you're going to see what happens when you truly nurture it with things that are healthy. And the whole hunger thing, like I just have to say something about that whole, we tend to be on these extremes of we'll like deprive ourselves and then we overindulge. So it's like, okay, if we're not feeling good about our bodies, it's like, okay, I'm not going to eat. I got to, fast. I got to do this, that, and the other. And we'll do it like spontaneously because we're not feeling good about ourselves. And then what happens is it's like you go to the other extreme. Once you come back roaring and you overeat and you indulge in all the junk food. And the same thing happens when you are not in touch with your hunger signals. So you'll let yourself go so hungry so long to where you are, again, the lightheadedness, and you feel like you're dizzy. Your blood sugar has gone down so much. Your stomach feels empty. And at that point, you can't even enjoy your food. That's when you go and just buy anything, food that you weren't planning to eat or buy. Or it's also why they say don't go grocery shopping when you're really, really hungry because everything is going to look good to you. Okay? So mindful eating is really, really a powerful way to not just regulate your health, but just feel good about yourself and your body. Of course, regular physical activity. I call it M. So I have this thing called the 3M formula. It's mood boosting foods. So foods that are really good for your brain, like salmon, like whole grains, oats, flaxseed, healthy fats, protein, leafy green vegetables, things like that. Like mood boosting foods, mindfulness, a few minutes of mindfulness every day, and movement. So I like to use the word movement versus exercise because when you say exercise, people are like, oh my God, I couldn't get to the gym today. But if we think about movement and physical activity and just doing things, whether it's stretching or going for a walk or doing some like plyometrics, like exercises with your own body in your house, you don't need a lot of equipment, or doing some weight training, or it could be things that you just do around the house. I know the more I've gotten into gardening, y'all, my abs, gardening will will get your abs together, especially those obliques on the side. more than any kind of just sitting in your house and trying to do these crunches and ab exercises, because it's like real life actions, or even doing housework, right? Bending over, doing, sometimes I just like to sit there and scrub my floors because I feel like I'm getting some exercise. Um, I know when I travel, like when I'm in Senegal, just doing stuff in the village, going to get water from the well, um, doing things like pounding food in order to, instead of using a blender, using the pestle and mortar to crush things, you're getting exercise. You're moving the muscles, right? So think about the everyday things you can do to get in physical activity, as opposed to feeling like you have to go to the gym, feeling like it has to be this thing outside of your real life. And the physical activity, we could cite tons of studies, but they help you with your body image. Not that we know it's healthy, right? Things like yoga, walking, dancing, anything like that. It's going to affect your body image. First of all, it releases endorphins, and those are those feel good hormones that make you feel really, really good. That improves your mood, makes you see yourself with new eyes. So if you're doing that regularly, you're producing endorphins. It also helps to regulate that other longer term feel good neurotransmitter, serotonin. It really, that stabilizes your mood. It also affects like feeling satisfied after you eat, that feeling of being satiated. So regular exercise is important for regulating serotonin. And then when you do a new activity or something that is exciting that you look forward to, that helps trigger the reward systems in your brain, that whole dopamine system. And I know we talk a lot about the cheap dopamine shots that you get from things like scrolling on your phone or gambling, drug use, things like that. They can give you that really quick hit of dopamine. Dopamine is not bad. We want to get the dopamine reward systems, like we want to activate them. They're there for a reason. But we want to try to do it with more healthy activities that are going to be a more steady uh, activation of dopamine, not just a quick hit and then you go down, right? That's what they say about a lot of drugs. You're always chasing that initial high. If you if you talk to someone who's done crack or something like that, they're the first high. I've never had a first high, and I've been a high like the first high, and I've been chasing it ever since. So we want to look at more sustainable ways of triggering the reward system in our brains, and exercise, um, trying new physical activities, switching it up a bit, engaging socially with people with some of your physical activities. These are all great ways to do it. Hey, ladies, also doing it with your spouse. You need to go look, you can even take it to the point of not just going to an exercise class together, because sometimes men and women, they like different types of physical activities, or you and your partner might be on different pages with that. But go out and actually go for a walk together, hold hands, go for a jog, go for a hike, do a YouTube sensual dance class, and let him be your your test client, right? Like you dance in front of him, and that gets your endorphins released, and you start to even feel confident and positive about yourself. So, those are some ways that you can even incorporate physical activity into your connection with your spouse. Skincare and grooming, that's another part of body positivity. So, even things like how you groom not just your face, but your body. Self massage, that's very healthy for your body. How you put lotion on, how you actually look at yourself in the mirror and admire those, unique qualities and features, those things that you love about yourself, and you just love up on them and have a routine that is really important. Now, one of my pet peeves is lack of moisturization. So when you moisturize, you're going to feel good with this too. Like, don't forget the back of your neck, your elbows, your knuckles, your knees, your feet, your heels, right? Take that time. That's part of self care. You're taking that time and nourishing and loving up on yourself, and you're looking good too while you're doing it. The other thing is the mindset part, the positive affirmations. And this has been shown in a lot of research that when you repeat affirmations such as, I love and accept my body, I love my features, I am looking at myself, I love such and such about myself. Like, you can point out one feature and how you love it. This actually helps to rewire negative thought patterns. Negative thought patterns are like this feedback loop, and they feed off of each other. So sometimes you have to make conscious statements that rewire the negative unconscious thoughts that are just playing in the background. And positive affirmations can do that. And of course, rest and relaxation. The good thing about when you do more physical activity, not only do you feel good about your body, you're looking at yourself, you're feeling like you are pouring into yourself. It also helps you to sleep better, which leads to rest and rejuvenation. Here's another thing too that you want to try out. I tried this with a friend. Different body treatments. So, of course, like massage, I like shiatsu massage, which is a very deep tissue Japanese massage, and they will be standing on you and walking up and down your back and so forth. But you can also, I also tried something called the salt float treatment. And it's where you go to this floating place. There's like tons of Epsom salt in about 10 inches of water. And you go in there, you go like in this kind of tube or tub, and it's dark, you're relaxed, but you're floating, but you're getting all of the medicinal properties of the Epsom salt, which the owner explained to us that that's actually magnesium. And a lot of people are talking about magnesium because it can help you sleep. It does all of these things. It's a really key nutrient or mineral that we need. And so you can go and do this salt flotation experience, and that just gives you another sense of your body. You're in there, you're floating, you're feeling relaxed, and that helps you feel good about yourself and your body. So, this is all about feeling good, ladies, all about feeling good about yourself, doing things from the inside, but also practices externally that contribute to that. So, what can you do? What are some actionable tips? What are things you can start today, like as soon as you finish listening to this, to improve your body positivity and to encourage self care around your body? One is practice gratitude. Start with the mindset. Start with the mindset that you are grateful for the function that your body performs for you. If you can walk, be grateful for that. If you have days of being pain free in your limbs and in parts of your body where maybe you had pain before, be grateful for that. If you are in a state of health and not dis-ease, be grateful for that. If you were in a state of dis-ease, but you are recovering or getting better, be grateful for that. Pick something today that you are grateful about in terms of your body and its capabilities and its strengths. Is there a part of your body that you latch onto and you love it, right? One of the reasons that I get henna so much is it literally, I feel like it releases like feel good, all the feel goods for me. I look at it and I feel like this is so pretty. It just the way it's against my complexion, right? And I feel grateful that I have a hand to put henna on, that a hand that is functioning incapable. So practice gratitude about one aspect of your body's capabilities, strengths, or just something that you love about your body. Practice mindful movement. So as you're doing these different physical activities, some of the ones we talked about, be present with it. Don't just be like, oh God, it's time to exercise. Let me just get this over with. Try to savor the moment. When I get on my elliptical, I try to really be like, oh my God, this is hard. My heart is racing, but let me see if I could just be in this moment. I'm going to go at this speed for 5 minutes and I'm just going to be present with it. Okay, so mindful movement. You can do that with stretching, with walking, or even more intense exercises. Positive self talk and self compassion go together. So, those positive affirmations, telling yourself, like saying the words, not just saying, oh, one day I'm going to love my body, right? Saying, I love and accept my body. Or thinking about a time when you didn't feel good about something about yourself and looking at it. I love and accept my eyes, my nose, my lips, my hair, my complexion, my whatever body part it is. Okay? Pour into that. And then again, really taking that time to be intentional about your nourishing self care. What you eat, how often, or making sure you regularly move your body, and taking time out to do things that you feel beautify yourself. Making sure you have a skincare routine, lotion yourself up, self massage, play around with things that make you feel good in your body, but also make you feel beautiful. I am such a proponent, like, I am so passionate about women and our right to feel beautiful, to adorn ourselves, and to feel attractive. I think that is your birthright. You get to do that. All right. So, those are some actionable things that you can do. So, I got a couple of questions. We're going to move to the Q&A section. So somebody said, how can I stay positive about my body when I am constantly bombarded by media images? And that was what I alluded to earlier, right? You really have to curate your social media and media consumption. And you have to do this for many reasons. Mental health, and also a self image and positive self image. From a mental health perspective, I don't watch the news on TV. I will read to keep up what's going on in the world. When it comes though to like images, I'm curating. I'm following people that I feel provide a healthy, positive self. I unfollow things that make me feel badly either about myself or other women or just society or whatever it is. If it's not making me feel positive about myself, then I unfollow it. So you really, really want to curate your experience. And if you're seeing a lot of overly perfect images or messaging that you're not worthy as a woman, if you don't have this perfect look, whatever that is in society, I suggest you unfollow that. And you follow, if you're following things on social media, you follow creators that are sharing their authentic selves. So we're not looking to have you be perfect, but if you want to follow somebody in terms of their skincare, follow it to see, like, how they talk about accepting things, their imperfections or who they are, versus this overly done up image that is making you feel like you're not good enough. So I say always do the not good enough test. If you look at some content or some images and it triggers in you a sense that you're not good enough physically or in other ways, you need to switch to some other content. So, question number 2 is, what are some quick self care practices that I can incorporate into my daily routine? This is great. So, you can literally take out 5 minutes in the beginning of the day to lean into your breath. 5 minutes of mindful breathing where you're just in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and out for a count of 4. Somewhere quietly, do that for 5 minutes. Start your day with that intention of ease and inviting relaxation and healthy interactions. You can also do things like enjoy a cup of tea. Do make sure if you want to switch it to your nighttime routine, have a skin routine. Well, you should be doing this anyway. You should be, side note, ladies, don't fall asleep with makeup and all that stuff on, right? You should be taking care of your skin not only in the morning, but at night. But use things like a nice toner spray that has a nice natural scent to it, or put your hair up in a bun or something like that so you can see your full face and take care of it, moisturize it, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "You look good, girl," right? So, a combination of the physical skin routine, but also the healthy, positive affirmations. All right. And these things really will help to make small but cumulative differences in how you see yourself. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful to you in terms of really digging into body positivity and what it can look like for you and how to fit your self care routine into making yourself feel more positive and just loving up on your body and your overall appearance. If you want to go deeper into these practices and these concepts around feeling self love, true deep self love, and how that translates into your relationships, make sure you get my book, The Boundaries to Bliss Blueprint. Or if you want to be in an active community that helps women to really foster positive self worth, positive body image, positive self love, then you need to join my community, the Boundaries to Bliss Society. The links for both of those are in the show notes. So I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to leave us a review, share this, and comment. And you can always send me a question if you want me to answer it. Until next time, embrace your power, nurture your spirit, and allow your feminine essence to shine. I'm Dr. Nicole.